Hello, my name is Jimmy and welcome to the 2020 Lexus RX350. Before I say anything else, let's do something that no RX owner has ever done. A quick acceleration test. Put it into drive, there's a sport mode. Let's turn traction control off to see what that does. Foot on the brake, a little bit of brake torque. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. 0 to 60 comes in at 7 seconds. That's a decent amount of speed. But like I said, no RX owner is ever going to take that into consideration because the RX is never about speed. It's more about comfort and refinement. So let's take a look at some stats first. In 2019, in the US alone, Lexus has sold 111,000 of these vehicles. Yes, that does include the RX350, the L, the 450, and the 450L. But 111,000 of them, that's double of that of the NX. And if you combine every single car that they sell, it still doesn't compete with one model. This RX is Lexus's bread and butter. They sell more of this than anything else that they have in their entire lineup. And for 2020, they made things just a little bit better, a little bit sweeter, a little bit more refined to make it, well, more suitable for every day. So what have they done exactly? From the outside, it's kind of hard to tell. There are a few small items. For example, the front grille has been revised, the headlights, the bumper, but it's quite subtle. Personally, when they introduced that spindle grille in the front, I was never a really big fan of it. It just never looked appealing to me. However, as time kind of passes, it's definitely grown. I like it more and more. On the RC, I'm still kind of a mixed bag, but on this, the RX, I think it looks good. Paired with the dark chrome that's around the edges, it makes it look a little bit more luxurious, more refined than this competition. I also really like the headlights. These 3-pod LED headlights, they look great and they illuminate the road very, very nicely. Obviously, there's auto high beams, so you're able to illuminate the road as needed, and below we do have LED fog lights as well. Off to the side, on this specific model, because it is the F Sport, I also have 20-inch wheels. They're just the right size. I don't think they're too large or too small. They do come standard with 18s, but the optional 20s definitely fill the arches a little bit more and make the vehicle just a little bit more pleasant. As for the side view, it's pretty standard box-on-box design. Nothing that really stands out other than this floating roof design. It is a very trademark RX look, and I think it looks great. It just makes the roof look a little bit different. And then for the back, we got updated LED taillights, which they look quite good and fit in with the rest of the Lexus lineup. And on the bottom, we actually have chrome exhaust finishers. No, they're not actual exhaust tips, but there's actually a hole here, something that you don't find too often these days. Overall, for the looks of the RX, it's, well, understated, really. It looks just like a car. It's kind of bland, but definitely not as boring as the previous, like, more beige models. But it's definitely not exaggerated. It doesn't have anything that's overly styled, and I like that. Opening the trunk, and we get 18.4 cubic feet. Fold the seats down, and you get 56.3. If you want a little bit more space, you can get the L model. And the L stands for, well, a little bit longer, 4.4 inches in fact. And then if you have all 3 row seats up, it's only 6.2 cubic feet, but most likely you're going to fold those down as it doesn't really fit people there. You're going to get 23 cubic feet and 58.5 overall. For a little bit more storage, if you lift up the floor, you get a little bit more storage just off to the side, and of course, it's also where you find the spare tire. Something that's a little bit odd and just doesn't really fit the overall vehicle is the first aid kit that's on the left and the owner's manual on the right. They're in these little pouches and they just, well, they're velcroed onto the side of the vehicle. They just don't seem to fit inside. It's probably best to kind of throw this underneath the floor if you're not using it, but it just looks out of place. One thing that is nice is the second row seats can fold down remotely with these 2 buttons here off the side, and they're electronically powered to fold down as well as back up. So you don't have to go to the side of the vehicle to bring those seats down or up when you're loading longer items in. A very thoughtful design. Moving to the rear seats, there's plenty of room back here. The seats themselves move fore and aft, so you're able to increase cargo capacity or increase legroom for the rear passengers. And if you like, you can recline the rear seats a little bit more so that you're able to have, well, a little bit more comfort back there. In terms of headroom, there's plenty of room up here. Thanks to this little cavity up top, I fit perfectly fine at 5'11". Above, we also find this panoramic sunroof. It's definitely not as big as some others, but it fits the vehicle for what it needs to do. Moving to the front seats, well, these seats themselves are really comfortable. This is the F Sport line, which means these seats are a little bit more bucketed than some may actually like. The bolstering on the side, they really hold you into the seat, something that you don't generally find in an RX, but they may be a little too over bolstered. If you're looking for just a very comfortable vehicle, I suggest maybe getting the luxury trim version rather than the F Sport that we have here, because the bottom bolsters, they kind of just pinch your legs a little bit closer than they really should be. Something that is definitely nice, the seats themselves are heated as well as cooled, and there's also an auto functionality. Enough about the seats though, let's talk about what's in front of the driver. In front, I got a lovely F Sport steering wheel, which means it's a little bit more grippy, a little bit thicker, and has an F Sport logo right on the bottom. It definitely looks the part, but there's one thing that sticks out: the cruise control. It's just a little bit older. It sticks out on the bottom and it's not illuminated. It just definitely doesn't feel that luxury vibe. Behind the steering wheel is where things changes a little. This F Sport cluster is actually quite nice. The tach itself, it's right dead in the center and it's huge. Change it into sport mode and we can see the dials change. And the left side, well, there's a whole bunch of different parameters that you can definitely see. While I do like this overall setup, if you don't get the F Sport, you're still left with the two analog dials and a digital screen in the center. Looking up from the cluster, and we got our heads-up display. The heads-up display actually shows plenty of information. Speed, attack, which definitely out of place, but you can change it to either an economy meter or you can turn it off completely. It also shows you some active safety features, which is nice as well. But the main attraction is this 12.3-inch infotainment display. It's absolutely massive and beautiful. Standard, it's still an 8-inch, but if you step up to the top model that we have here, this 12.3-inch display, it really defines the vehicle. What's nice, it's actually touch sensitive, so you're able to actually go through the menus as you need. The only thing is, the screen is a little bit far. So at my driving position, I'm actually not able to reach the screen itself. I just have to lean a little bit forward. But I'd rather do that than using the touch control that's down here. While the touch control is okay and some people do like it, personally, I'm just not a big fan as, well, I do have to take my eyes off the road just to see the screen exactly where I'm at. It has haptic feedback, but it's just not as intuitive as I would like. The touchscreen is definitely the way to go. And with this big display, I'm able to split the screen with some information about the radio source, for example, and climate control on the right. But what's nice is you don't need to use the screen for your climate control. There's a whole dedicated row of buttons right below. And above that, a dedicated volume, tuning knob, media buttons, as well as this slot for a disc. Remember the last time you had a CD or DVD that you put into a car? I don't remember, but it has that. Kind of shows what generation this vehicle is made for. Alright, that's enough about the interior. Let's talk about how it handles and how it drives. The RX, well, I'm not going to say it's exciting because it definitely isn't. It's a good-mannered vehicle. It's quiet. It's smooth. But if you poke it with a stick, it can accelerate. It actually makes a good sound. The 3.5-liter V6 that's under the hood makes 290 horsepower and 263 pound-feet of torque. Paired with that, you got an 8-speed automatic driving all 4 wheels. In the US, you can get a front-wheel drive trim, but here in Canada, all-wheel drive is standard. The drivetrain itself is quite efficient. You're looking at 19 in the city, 26 on the highway, and 22 combined. In Canada, that's 12.2 liters in the city and 9 on the highway. It's definitely not bad, and I was able to achieve those highway numbers relatively easily. However, if you're looking for something that's a little bit more efficient, definitely take a look at the RX350H. The hybrid powertrain still uses a V6, but it has a combined horsepower of 308 and 247 pound-feet of torque. And with that combo, you're able to get 30 miles per gallon combined. That's 7.8 liters for 100 kilometers. That's very, very efficient. In the twisties, well, it's definitely not going to be as communicative as some other vehicles. It's relatively bland, if I may say. But like I said, the RX isn't for that. It's for comfort. It's for that plush ride. It's almost like if you're on a cloud. And the suspension is definitely tuned and designed for that. Well, overall, the RX is a very lovely vehicle. It does everything that you need, but not anything else. It's definitely not a sporty vehicle, even with the F Sport badging all over. It's not designed for that. But what it is it's a very comfortable, luxurious vehicle that's going to be very reliable. I mean, if you take a look at the streets, there's a lot of older RXs still around. Lexus and Toyota is known for the reliability, and this is no exception. I'm sure this engine and vehicle will last for years to come. And that's really what Lexus owners are looking for. If you're in the market for a Lexus RX, you can get into one for $44,000 US. That's for the front-wheel drive, at $1,400 more for all-wheel drive. In Canada, that's $56,050. As tested here, it's $57,000 US, or just under 70,000 Canadian. So it's not as pricey as, for example, the X5 from BMW or the GLE from Mercedes, but it's on the level of like the QX60 from Infiniti or the MDX from Acura. And that's definitely more in line of what this vehicle is aimed for. In any case, let me know what your thoughts are on the RX in the comment section down below. Is this your plush vehicle of choice? Let me know. In any case, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day and take care.